Williams. Oh, my goodness. In your life have you seen anything like that?
We're going to go nuts when he hits this thing. And now it comes down to one putt for the win. Is it his time?
All right, everybody, welcome back to the Great Bogey Podcast. I'm your host, Cameron. We've got Justin back on this week. And today we are bringing you the Masters recap. To summarize it, Scottie Scheffler is very good at golf. So, Justin, why don't you say hi to everybody? Yeah, I mean, 66 on Thursday. You know, everybody on Friday struggled, right, because of the wind and not a whole lot of low scores out there. And then Saturday, Sunday, just never lost control of it, if you ask me. So Justin, why don't you give us just overall your feelings, your thoughts, your summarization of this year's Masters tournament, and we can just piggyback off that.
Like, I'm going to go a little, I don't know, this might be a little confrontational.
Oh, the technical difficulties are starting early. Uh-oh. Well, while we're waiting for Justin to join, I'll give mine. You know, you go on golf Twitter, you go on Golf X, and everybody's saying how boring Scottie is, how boring of a Sunday it was. I just wholeheartedly disagree. I think watching greatness happen in real time and finding out, if Scottie, hey, Justin, welcome back. You went out there a little bit. I went ahead and started giving my summarization, so we'll just do that, and then we'll throw it back to you.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is, a lot of people are calling this, Master Sunday boring. Scottie is a boring guy. And I just disagree. I find that watching, possibly the next greatest golfer of our time, in the history of golf, winning and actually solidifying himself is a privilege, and it's exciting to watch. When you shoot 66 on Thursday, then you come out and shoot another 68 on Sunday, like full control, right? I just don't see how people find that boring. And he put the hammer, the final nail in the coffin on Sunday. He's the only one who didn't make a big mistake. Colin Morikawa had 2 doubles. Oberg doubled.
Homa double.
Homa, like Scottie is just steady, man. Steady Scottie is what we're calling him.
But I don't know, how. So before my internet decided to go away and you became the only one talking, I don't think it was boring, but I don't think it was exciting. Saturday night we had the recipe for a great cocktail, right? We had so many good players at the top. I mean, Max was leading third round, or Scottie was leading third round, and we had Nikolai Hogard out there. You had Ludwig. You had all these players. I mean, they were even calling Cam Davis to be like, oh, he can come from behind. He's got all this stuff. So I mean, we had the recipe to be, a great Sunday. But boring or not, you watched really good golf. I mean, I watched the entire Tiger Woods and Neil Shipley round. I was basically on my phone in a hotel room while my daughter was sleeping, but I was still watching the entire thing. So, I thought it was fun. But
I get it. Like, we can't, but you're not going to have the weeks like the players where Wyndham Clark has a putt to make, for a playoff. Like, it's just not going to happen every week. And it's going to be hard to have that expectation on every golf tournament in the year. It's the Masters. It's always exciting to me. I mean, like you said, Saturday we did have a good recipe going into Sunday. We had Scheffler in the lead with Morikawa 1 behind in the final group, and then Ludwig and Max in the next group, or the penultimate group of 4 under and 5 under.
Yeah.
I had high hopes for Ludwig. He's Scotty's steady, but Ludwig looks good for a 23-year-old playing in his first major tournament, which just so happens to be the Masters.
Yeah, there's some players coming up, man. Like Ludwig and Oberg. I think it's Oberg, right? That's how we're saying it now.
That's how they were saying it.
Before. Yeah. I'm just going with Ken because apparently his college team called him Ken from Ken and Barbie. So we can
that makes a lot of sense. He looks like a cologne model.
We can. I think he has some like wispy hair too, because at the end when he went to go shake hands, it kind of like hawked up, and you're like, oh, dude's got a little bit of rock star in him or something, you know?
Yep.
Like he's not just like shaved head Colin or something. But yeah, like I think we've got a lot of good golf that's gonna be played by a bunch of different people, and I think we're like a year away from seeing that happen. But this is, I mean, you called it. You kind of said it last week. You want to see Scottie go on like Tiger-ish run and throw that mystique out there of that. I think we could very well see it. We've started the year off that direction.
I was thinking about that this morning. I'm like, if he does that, he's going to need to do this for another like 8 years. With how dominant Tiger was, and I think the field in these players in these tournaments, it's never been harder, in my opinion, to win a golf tournament than it is right now. The talent pool is just very, very stacked. Even with players leaving for Live, like there's still just tremendous golfers coming up, and then also still on the PGA Tour and whatnot. Now, Live was there, of course. It's the Masters. They actually had a pretty good showing as a tour. 8 of 13 made the cut. 8 of 13 made the cut.
Yeah, but
those 8 played pretty well.
For 12th. It wasn't last year. Let's just put it that way. Like last year they had probably the all-time showing that they could have had. I mean,
DeChambeau was
DeChambeau's 6th.
And then Hatton was.
Oh, I forgot. Hatton did go. Okay, so there's
Hatton,
Reed. Yeah. Reed was 12th.
Yeah, Koepka, Rahm. Then you kind of get thrown in the mix there.
Thrown in the mix.
But
and
still,
then Joaquin.
Yeah, I mean, for being what the Live bots are saying, being the best player in the world. I mean, he didn't really show that at the Masters. He didn't necessarily like poop down his leg, but
yeah,
I think a lot of people had high expectations for him, and he probably fell short of them. Joaquin.
Well, and Mr. Live himself, DJ. I mean, gosh, that guy probably pooped down his leg. I think.
Yeah, I mean, he completely pooped down his leg.
1 birdie, all 4 rounds. Like that's.
Well, he didn't make the cut.
That's just so brutal. And then I mean, you've got Brooks, who I took him to win. I thought he was gonna do something really cool, and he didn't do.
I did too.
He didn't do anything cool, which was a huge bummer. So
he was just like up and down, and then like at some point he was just like, yeah, he's not getting under par at any point in time.
It's like I'm out. So
yeah.
So we jumped straight into like 3rd and 4th round, but I mean we're talking about Live now and going back to round 1. Like
shout out to Bryson.
Yeah.
First round leader, $50 bet, win 800. Holler at your boy.
You and these bets. I couldn't have taken that bet. That was awesome though. I was stoked to see that text come through. Yep. I'm pretty sure you were pacing the entire time around your house. I could just see that happening.
Well, Scottie was playing. I'm like, this is not safe. Like the dude's out there playing. Like at any point in time, Scottie could just rattle off 5 birdies in a row, and there goes the lead. But yeah, I mean, it's a long weekend. I had plenty of bets out there, so glad that one hit to kick us off.
Well, and let's not forget, Homa all of a sudden started making some putts on round 1.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, oh, shoot. That's when I put a couple bucks on Homa. I was like, oh, he's feeling it with the putter. He's sinking 15. He'd sink, I think, 2 or 3 15-plus foot putts. And he birdied that long par 3 where he went like 7 wood in and instead of hitting it into the bunker, like a bunch of the guys were just laying up into the bunker. And I was like, yep, I'm taking him right now. So
Yeah, luckily, luckily the Bryson bet hit, so I threw a bunch of at the leaders, on Friday morning, and
yeah,
then put some more on. And my Ludwig bet was put on Friday morning as well. I put $100 on them, which would have paid 2,300. I
you didn't
kept it
go top
rolling.
5. You went winner for
I went
Ludwig.
winner. Yeah,
Okay.
I went winner. And at one point, they offered me the $500 cash out, and I'm like, you know what? I got faith in Ken, the Barbie doll here. Let's see him close it out, and that didn't happen. So
Yeah, but I mean, impressive of all. I guess I would have probably thought about first Masters, first major, first time playing that golf course 4 days in a row like that. To come out and win would be like once in a lifetime special. So
I believe it would be historic. I'm trying to think of who the last first time winner was. They said they kept talking about it. And I just cannot remember.
yeah, shoot, it was wasn't it like Lee Trevino or something like that? It was like way back in the day.
Let's Google it real quick. First person to win the Masters on their first try. Who won it first? Horton Smith?
That was like in the 40s.
Gene Sarazen. Oh, it was Fuzzy Zeller. That's who it was.
Fuzzy Zeller, Lee Trevino, kind of the same.
Yep.
So I mean, we roll from round 1, Bryson and Max show. I mean, that's everyone was watching that. We were watching Tiger. I mean, he played all right first round. Then we go into round 2. I think that wind was nasty, man. 20-mile-an-hour averages with 40-mile-an-hour gusts.
When they were like showing like the greens, like I think it was on like 18, where the bunkers were just covering the greens in sand, I was like, yeah, they could probably justify maybe delaying this a little bit. And I think Rom made comments like that too. Looks like Justin froze on us again. But it's very interesting how bad the wind got. And you still see, I think Aubert had the low round that day of 3 under. So that was just more impressive work done by him. I don't know what you heard there, Justin.
Parts of it, like the very end.
It was just crazy to see like the bunkers, the sand just going all over the greens, slowing them down, making them bumpy, making it just another wrench, in the game plan. And then I was also talking about how Oberg had the low round of that day. I think he shot 3 under still. Like,
yeah,
that was crazy.
So Berg for round 2, yeah, he was 69. I think there was only 2 rounds that day that actually broke into the 60s. So
Right.
that's pretty impressive. That's the ultimate control of your ball flight on that day. I mean, trying to hit those lower shots, staying below the trees a little bit more, and not hitting the spinny high cuts, stuff like that just get out of control, especially in that.
I know all about the spinny high cuts.
Yeah.
We're going to call them high cuts.
Yeah.
They're slices.
Yeah.
They're slices.
Just 90 yards for you, though. Not more than that.
Yeah. Just half the golf course, 3 holes over.
Exactly.
One thing I wanted to shout out was my boy Tom Kim. He went low on Sunday, but it didn't matter. He wasn't going to do anything, right?
66.
66 on Sunday at the Masters. Unfortunately, he did pretty much the same thing at the Open Championship last year when he had a bum ankle. He went really low to put himself in the mix on Sunday, and it was just too much too late, or too little too late.
Yeah, that was pretty impressive, though. And
yeah,
I mean, obviously everyone can see that because of Full Swing. We obviously
another extremely young guy who's probably going to win a ton.
That
as long
was
as Scottie lets him, you know.
well. I mean, I think what's more impressive, if you look at his rounds. I mean, he went even, so he was right there round 172. Then he goes 78, which, I mean, can you be super pissed? I mean, Brian Harmon on the second round shot 47 on the back nine. So I mean, coming in, something better
Mm-hmm.
than that, but to go 78, 77, and then just come in and fire a 66, that's super impressive. Because I mean, how many of us, you made the cut, you're in the Masters, you could just kind of give up,
Yep.
kind of send it in. Who knows? I think that's pretty good to see him come in there and do 66.
What was Tiger 70? Was Tiger 73 on that windy day?
Let's
Let's
see.
pull. I think he was. No, he's even par 72. He was early guy. He played 23 holes that day.
Yep.
He felt it on Saturday, right, when he shot a million. Um, but to shoot 72 on that set, I mean, he can still play. It's just that back. It was his back.
Well, I think it was everything. Like his entire body was destroyed by the time
I mean,
Saturday hit.
if you're watching him on Saturday, he didn't bend his back from like hole 3 on. He just like stiff legged. Like he almost looked like he did not want to pick up any of his golf balls after like putting them out or marking his ball.
Well, and like,
Um,
yeah, the ball marker thing was the worst, because if he
yeah,
wasn't in the right position, it was almost like he was just like flicking at it to try and get it in the right spot. And it was like, oh my gosh, that looks
yeah,
so incredibly painful. And then you've
yep,
got some of the images and videos of him, like, he's got an icy hot patch on his back and he's throwing more icy hot. And that was like on hole 7 or something. It's like, oh
hmm
shit, this is going to be a long day for him. I mean, the dude's got, just need to buy a stock in icy hot after this. I mean, it's going all
yep.
over.
He's gonna be like Shaq when Shaq was doing all the Ben Gay commercials. Tiger's gonna be doing icy hot.
$10 million per commercial for
Yeah, that.
icy hot.
Yep, yep. I don't know. Tiger, he's interested. He's already pretty much committed to the PGA in Valhalla next month. Um, I've never seen that course. I don't know. I gotta imagine there's some elevation change. Probably not as nearly as bad as Augusta when it comes to the up and down and the hills and the undulation throughout the course. But he's got to figure that back out. Um, like I said, I think maybe his ankle hurts, his leg probably hurts. I mean, it's like 20% there. Like he lost a lot of his calf. It looks like. But it just seems like that back is what really really held him back from making good swings at the ball Saturday and Sunday.
I mean, he's had the surgeries on his legs. I mean, does he go in and have the back surgery now to alleviate? I mean,
Yeah, I
that's
mean he's had his back is fused.
no,
He's
I know,
had
but
back.
he's got to have another one. Like,
Yeah,
is he
like
going in for another one? Is that the prediction for? Do you think? I mean, this would actually be a good bet. Are we betting that Tiger Woods has another back surgery before the end of 2024?
I what's going to happen is he's going to play Valhalla, and whatever happens there is going to dictate his decision, right? If he
Yeah,
plays well, makes the cut again, and like is actually able to play well for 4 rounds, he's probably going to forego it until the next major, right? He also needs to play more. Like I know he's swinging a golf club every day at his house, in his incredible practice facilities that he has.
yeah.
But you can't just play 4 tournaments a year. Like he's Tiger Woods. I get it, the greatest to play the game. But like, come on, bro, get out
It,
there, get in some tournaments.
well, and I mean, just to be even in that mindset, being competitive, etc. Like, there's gonna be ample amount of rust on him, even though he is Tiger Woods. I mean, we are talking about the greatest golfer of all time.
He can do it. Like he obviously, he can still play. Even par, I think he was 1 over on Thursday. Like those are good scores to put up at Augusta. when you look at the field and how everyone else performed, like he was above average. But dude, like your body's just not going to be all of a sudden like, yeah, let's go walk 4 rounds at the hardest golf courses in the world, and we'll be just fine. Especially with what he's been through.
Yeah, I mean, he
So
hasn't he hasn't played 4 rounds since Genesis of last year. So
yeah, yeah. I mean, we got to mention, he's now the new record holder. He's made the cut in 27 straight
24.
24 Masters that he's played in a row.
Yeah, that I mean, it's impressive to think about that. That's 24 years of golf that he has made the cut.
It's probably going to be a record that like never gets broken.
I could see that. I mean, he's got a lot of those records. I mean,
You
heck,
got
we
you
could.
got to put that up there with like nobody's breaking Cal Ripken Jr.'s consecutive games played, right? Nobody's breaking that. They, especially now with how many days off people take. Baseball players, they're drama queens. Athletes now are not the same. Don't get me wrong, they're tough, but like they're an investment to their organizations, and their organizations are going to pretty much force them at some point to take it easy. Whereas Cal Ripken was like, dude, if I could stand up, we're playing. Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, I think he's got a whole bunch of different records, and it's something I was looking up real quick because
his consecutive weeks at number one's not going to be broken. I mean, that's going to be impossible.
Yeah, I mean, he's got 82 official wins, which obviously he has to win a few more to get past that. But I think it was no, that is the record. He's at 82. He's tied with Sam Snead, so he needs one more win. What was his cuts?
I got no idea. Dude, maybe it's my internet. What do you guys think? We just upgraded like a month ago. Should be fine. Unreal. Anyways, Tiger Woods, we'll see what happens. I mean, I'm going to put some money on him to win Valhalla because I don't want to not be on that train if it happens. I may go after this podcast is on and go watch a bunch of Valhalla videos. Shout out to Michael Bryan Ort. I believe that is from his homeland of Kentucky. He's also one of our number one listeners and is always able to provide some, criticism and insight into the game of golf. Justin, are you back?
I am back, and I came in at the most perfect time for, I think, the recording that you sent me.
Yes. Michael Bryan Ort sent Justin a wonderful recording message, just letting us know how he feels about Rory McIlroy and what he had hopes for when it came to Rory's score this week at the Masters.
Yes, Michael, you made it very clear that you feel very strongly that I am wrong, completely wrong, and I can appreciate it.
So he is. We're going to talk about this this listener here. Ort is a golf fan. He doesn't. He claims to not, pick a side when it comes to PGA and the Live. The way I see it, it seems like he criticizes the PGA more so than Live as a whole, which makes sense given that Live is the one trying to make things different. Whereas the PGA Tour is like they're on their heels, right, with these signature events, these elevated events, now trying to get to that level, that same kind of change, a level of change. Ort is also one of the funny. I've actually never met him in person. He's part of that Facebook group page. He's also one of the funniest one-liner dudes that I've ever interacted with at any level. So shout out to Michael Bryan Ort for always listening and providing feedback, whether it's to our picks, the podcast, or things in general. So, all right, moving on. Rory, we got to talk about Rory. I mean, this is what, number 10 shot at trying to finish that Grand Slam and just falls way short of it.
I mean, can you imagine the pressure of the Grand Slam? And every time you come into the Masters, you're not thinking about like, oh, I mean, Tiger is like, I just want to make the cut. even though he says he wants to win, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or you're like, hey, top 10 is going to be great here and we'll build into the season. I mean, all of these players go in wanting to win the damn thing. I mean, that's why they're there, right? But he is going on like, I have to win. Like, this is a huge deal, right?
Yeah.
And just crushes himself. I mean, with a 77.
You cut out a little bit there. What were his scores?
On Friday, he didn't do himself any favors when he shot a 77. So he went 71, 77, 71, 73.
So he was under par round 1. 70.
Yep.
Yep. Under par in round 3.
Yeah, went 1 under, but
One
yeah,
under on round 1 and 3. Yep.
so
It just
five over.
looking at his scorecards, he'd gain some ground and then just give it right back up.
Yeah.
I mean, on Friday he didn't have one birdie. Not
Wow.
one.
Really?
He had pars, so he had all pars except on 5 he bogeyed, on 7 he bogeyed, 11 doubled, and 14 he bogeyed as well. So no birdies.
And the telecast actually, like, they didn't show very much Rory. Like, you didn't see much of Rory all weekend.
Yeah. And I will say, as you get deeper into the weekend, right, they're focusing on the guys who are going to be in the mix. Twitter, I've said this before, but golf Twitter is an interesting place to be sometimes. Everyone, all the live blowhards, pardon my French, they were just so up in arms that they weren't showing any Cam Smith's shots on Sunday. I'm like, he's 2 under par going into like 14. Like, what is there to show? Like, he's obviously not going to birdie out to put himself in the mix. That just doesn't really happen. I mean, I agree there could be more golf shots shown on really any golf tournament, the PGA Tour or these guys playing the majors, all of them. Liv does a pretty good job of, showing their golf shots, but that's also because, they don't have nearly as many ads, commercials, anything like that they need to run. But it's like, why are you demanding we show Cam Smith? He's not anywhere near contending right now. And that was Rory's story. He was nowhere near contending. Ever.
Totally. I mean, he finished tied for 22nd, so there wasn't really any excitement from him.
Mm-hmm.
I'm guessing that he had a real hard time in the wind with driver. I mean, he hits those high towering drives, and I mean, his apex is up there, so he's getting above that tree line. And I've never seen him hit like I mean, you saw Homa with that.
He's like driver or like it's driver. That's his option on the tee.
Yeah. And it's not like a punch driver or a fairway finder or anything like that. It's full bore all the way, 340-yard drive. I mean, that's how Max like went through, except for Sunday. It kind of screwed him with that little 3-wood hook, that he was playing. But Saturday and Friday, that thing was money for him.
I thought, I thought Sunday Max drove the ball fine. He did have that one where it was just, okay, that was not good.
Yeah.
But other than that, he was in the fairway a ton. And I mean, his big downfall was number 12, which was pretty much like everyone's big downfall, right? You miss the green there. You go long, you're pretty much dead. Especially with how fast these greens were playing on Sunday. Like
rockets.
He bounced right into that bush, and you're like, okay, Max is out of it. Like, he's making double. He had to take him play. I don't even think they could find his ball in that bush. I think they had to take a drop. No, they must have been able to find.
I think they ID'd it because I watched him like kind of poking his finger in there, and then a rules official came over.
But obviously unplayable. Took a drop. You're like, yeah, this dude's going to be lucky to make a bogey here.
The problem was his chip. I mean, he tried to get kind of cute with it. Probably like
instead it kept it up on the fringe, right?
Yeah.
That's right.
So then he two putted from there, and that was like the demise of that round, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So that
Uh,
was
great hole, one of the best holes in golf, and it takes the best in the world out back and just old yellers them in their round in a hurry.
I mean, let's remember Tiger made a 10 there at one point.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean,
Jordan Spieth literally lost his second consecutive jacket on that hole in 2016. I think he made an 8, something like that, 2 in the water. That's going to be. I don't want to talk about Jordan Spieth a whole lot. He sucked this week. Very disappointing from him. JT, Dustin Johnson. I mean, a lot of big names did not make it to Saturday, and it was kind of shocking.
And I mean, if we're talking about Liv, who's the one who threw the comment out there about they could make it longer than 54 holes? Wyndham Clark. Homeboy didn't make it.
What a doofus.
He didn't make it. Yeah. I mean, and like I'm a fan, right? I love Wyndham Clark. I love Ducks. I mean, he played for us, won the national championship there. But dude, you win a few tournaments and now you think you're the man and you start making some of these comments that just don't make sense. Like his comment earlier this year, I want the field to be limited to 100. Okay. What?
You do that. You do that 2 years ago, Wyndham. You're nowhere to be found. You're on the Corn Ferry.
Yeah, you're still trying to figure out how to make rent. And now that you've done this, you can do whatever you want. Even though I have heard he's like the cheapest guy known to man. So him and I would probably get along in that sense. But he still is not doing anything.
You buy like a new putter every 2 weeks. Come on now.
Well, there's a thing around cheap, and then there's a thing with just like trying to buy your way into good golf. And
gotcha.
That's what I'm trying to do.
Mm-hmm.
But look at this. So Zach Johnson had his little meltdown. Justin Thomas didn't make the cut. Austin Eckroat coming into Masters playing good golf. Nick
Hovland.
Dunlap, poor kid. Like
Burns.
I mean, there's Brian Harmon just got absolutely crushed with an 81. Spieth that was the worst thing ever to watch. I mean, just absolutely brutal for that. And then you've got DJ coming in with 78, 79. Like, just think about that.
He shot a 79 on Thursday.
Yeah.
Just a horrible start. Horrible.
Yeah. Then you go into an even harder day, and you're not making anything happen on that day with that win.
Spieth made a 9 on 15 on Thursday.
That's crazy. I mean, you had a few people that I think it's worth saying, like VJ. Homie made it all 4 rounds.
Impressive.
So that was really cool, I think, to actually see that.
Another guy who he started winning late in life, like late in his career. I think he was like 38 when he won his first big tournament.
Yeah.
And then he kind of went on a run. But yeah, I mean, I think you got all old guys at the bottom. You got Woods, Olesen, and Singh.
Yeah. Well, and then
I think Olesen is a journeyman too, right? He's been around for a long time.
And then you scroll like the tied for 45th is Jose Maria, which right next to his boy John Rahm, which is kind of funny. I just noticed that.
Yeah, at 9 over, for the tournament.
Yeah. So I mean, you've got some of those.
Brooks, another disappointing showing. He talked that big game about the majors. They're all that matter, right? You got to do better, Brooks.
So you either take the Brooks bait and go, oh, he's coming back and he's going to crush it, or does he fall into the slump again of 2 years ago where he cannot play golf and he's going to be in his head because he switched putters. He switched putters the week
right
before this
right?
event. Yeah, which is kind of crazy.
Who do you think is more upset about their performance at the Masters? Rory McIlroy or Jon Rahm? Rory McIlroy, 10th year trying to complete the Grand Slam. Jon Rahm, defending champ, probably one of the guys people were expecting to be in the mix on Sunday, right? He's expecting to be in the mix on Sunday. And he had to wait like 3 hours to give Scottie his jacket when I'm sure he wanted nothing more than to like leave.
Bounce. Yeah.
I think it's Rom. I mean, Rory's used to it at this point, right? Like these guys are also like used to losing. Like they win a lot, but like they've lost more than they've won, and in their careers. Because technically, like you don't win, you're a loser. You there's no like you get money for second place, but not people aren't like patting you on the back for it.
Well, I mean,
I expected way more out of John Rahm this week. I'll be honest, as a viewer, and I like John. I was sad when he made that jump to live, but I would have too.
but that's a point too. I mean, he just made the jump to live, got his buckets of money, went over there, and now he came and just had a bad performance. So people are going to be talking about it. And he's been the one who's wanting to make changes for like world golf ranking. He's saying, hey, look.
We lost him again. He'll be back. One thing to note is I believe since Liv has started, they've won one major. Yes, they've been in the mix. Their players have been in the mix, but Brooks Koepka, I believe, is the only one to bring home a major as an active Liv golfer. Rahm won the Masters last year, then went to Liv, but I'm not that. He's a PGA Tour player at that point. What'd you hear of that, Justin?
Someone's a PGA Tour player. I apparently my AOL modem and dial-up isn't working today. Jeez Louise.
Looking at mine, and it could be me, but it's not affecting me because I'm the host. On StreamYard here.
Yeah.
But I just also like upgraded and made my stuff as fast as possible. Not as fast as possible, but like it should be operating. But it's technology. It's out of our control for the most part. What I was saying is, I believe, an active Live player, they were on Live when they won a major is only Brooks Koepka, right? John Rahm won, but he was the PGA Tour player.
Yeah. And then right before everything got started with this is when Phil won his PGA. So yeah.
Personally, I'm hoping that something happens to where we don't need to worry about that metric. Like there's some sort of agreement, a deal. These guys come back together in some form or fashion. But if they don't, I wonder what the trend's going to be. As I imagine Liv's going to try and grow and take more players and get their tournaments bigger. How often is a Live player going to play in a major, in the next couple of years? Because a lot of them are going to lose whatever, exemptions they had. Bryson, I think, is running out of time with his U.S. Open win. If the OWGR doesn't change, they're going to be, most, if not all of them are already out from that. Cam Smith's going to run out of time with his Open Championship win. Be interesting to see.
Well, and some of the comments are kind of interesting because they're like, well, we thought it'd be changed by now. So you literally took the money, Greg Norman was probably spouting a bunch of shit about being able to change. We get enough momentum. They're going to have to take us, things like that. Right. I'm a sales guy. You're a sales guy. We can probably talk ourselves into that. That's going to be the outcome. And then all of a sudden deal doesn't get closed and everyone's sitting going there. Well, what the hell? So they bring John Rahm over and he's supposed to be that tipping point. I don't know, man. I said it last time. If a kid does something wrong, he gets penalized for it. It's the same thing with this, but at the same point, like I want, just like everyone else, I want to see golf. I'm just honestly frustrated with how long this shit's been going on for.
Mm-hmm.
Like I just don't want to hear about like, oh, they need to be mixed or they need to be combined. I think Live. I went to Pumpkin Ridge. I watched it. I thought it was awesome. I loved watching it. All my buddies were like, don't go support that dirty money, blah, 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 all that shit. And I'm like, I'm going to go there because my daughter and I like golf. And this is the first time I'm going to get watch.
Yeah, it's like in your backyard. Like, yeah.
So, we go.
I would too. It's just they're not going to come. They're probably not going to be coming to Denver anytime soon. And if I'm going to travel somewhere to go to any sort of golf related, I'm going to travel to play. Right. So
Yeah, it's just I just want to see it over and done with. I mean, figure out a way for Liv to be world golf ranking, and then they can make it into the majors, and then you've got 2 tours
mhm.
done.
Yeah. Do they? It just seems like live though at that point. Like there's no way to really, like the PGA Tour has your journey to earn your way there, right?
Yeah,
What is Liv going to do something like that? Like, or are they just going to be like, hey, Wyndham Clark, here's $125 million if you want to come play over here, right? Like
yeah, and I mean
it
the
seems like
other
unsustainable, but I know Saudi Arabia has endless money, you know.
that's like the one thing. It feels like that's the one thing they didn't think about, or maybe it's in the plans and we just don't know because
Mhm.
that's higher up in the
Yeah,
weeds.
nobody
Uh,
knows. There's like
yeah,
probably 8 people in the world who knows like actually what's going on in discussions, and they're all lawyers. So,
yeah, yeah.
um, anyways, that's enough Live versus PGA Tour. I thought it was a great tournament this week. I mean, like I said at the top of the podcast, I'm going to sit back and enjoy watching, if it happens, Scottie just dominate because we could be watching the next greatest golfer in the world uh, become that goat, that greatest of all time.
I mean, there was so many good stories with this Masters. I mean, all of a sudden you had Bryson coming out there in the first, you had Homa in the second, you had Scotty doing what Scotty does, which he always comes back on Saturday or Sunday.
Mhm.
You had people chasing him, and then you had Scott.
Once he
So
starts cooking, that's when the internet gives up. So, but you didn't cut out too long right there.
yeah, yeah. So Scotty just plays perfect. He made putts. I mean, how many TaylorMade spiders with the plumber's neck are being sold right now?
Probably a lot. I stood over one of those things and I'm like, yeah, this ain't for me, dude. You
I
know,
almost bought. I almost got like because my daughter's got that whole. She plays sim golf on Tuesdays, and
uh-huh.
it at a golf shop, and being left-handed, they had like 3 choices for me to dink around with. So I was sitting there putting with a spider tour, and I was like, I could get with this. I kind of like
Sure.
it. I was about to buy it, and then I decided to go buy something else.
Yep. So when it comes to like non-blade putters I've used, I played just because I didn't know any better, the Odyssey 2 ball, back in the day before they discontinued it and then started them.
Yeah,
Back up the white hot 2 balls. And that thing was like the softest feeling putter I think I've ever had. Um, I just had sold my clubs and didn't have any golf clubs anymore, and then picked the game back up. I took like a 2-3 year hiatus, um, and I found out what Scotty Cameron was. I'm like, these putters are cool. People seem to like them. Like when Jordan Spieth, you see his putter says Cameron on the back. For the longest time, I was like, I don't know what that means. Like it's my name, but that's it.
that's awesome.
So I've used the 2 ball, and now I have an X5 Scotty Cameron Phantom from 2023 that I like. I like it a lot. No, it's a 7. It's a 7.5. That's what it is. I like it a lot. I just I have the Terillium now. It's a Blade Newport 2, and
One of the most beautiful putters
yeah,
ever made,
I just love the
ever.
way it looks. I just love the way it looks, and I got it for what we'll call a steal, and that's probably not going to leave the bag anytime soon. So when I look at these monstrosity of a putter head, when it comes to anything bigger than really probably the 7.5 or in that realm, I'm just like, I'm out. I don't want this.
Yeah.
So,
I still have the Newport, the Art of Putting, which was like the OG
mhm,
back in 98? Something like that. Got that, the oil can finish, and I'll keep that around forever because that's like the putter that I go back to. And I think there's something to like the light head, small grip. You get to feel your hands through the stroke and kind of figure it out. Um, but to your point, I sold my Scotty X 5.5, got rid of that. I also have a sick arm lock because I decided to go down like just the
mhm.
rabbit hole of crazy putters. But this, like, I played in that qualifier this weekend, and man, I was so stoked with the Toulon that I bought. I bought that Toulon Le Mans. I went with a double bend. Finally, I got away from like the slants. And for whatever reason, going from a slant neck to a double bend like helped with my aim. Like I could line the ball up so much better on like
Mhm.
where I want it. It just looks completely different to my eye. So I don't know, man. There's something out there for everyone, but it's a pretty exciting time for golf equipment because putter technology is getting really cool too.
Yep. Yeah, I wonder. I wonder if they're going to roll anything back. You know, the ball's probably going to be first, right? If they do.
I don't know. How do you like that? Do you think that's actually
No, I
good?
want to be able to hit the ball as far as I possibly can, you know, given my skill set. And if they roll the ball back, if they roll a driver head back, that's not going to happen. Like, now I know they could be, you know, just doing it for the professionals. I'm like, that's also dumb. I want to see Rory hit bombs. I want to see Bryson hit bombs. I don't want to see a bunch of Kevin Kisners and Brian Harmons out there poking it out 280. Like, if I'll go play with a couple people I know if I want to see that. I want to see some big sticks. I want to see them hit bombs.
Yeah, it's entertaining. So now
Mm-hmm.
we're gonna take like the entertainment factor of it and go like, oh well, it's for the tradition of the game.
Yeah,
What?
it seems like it's a bunch of old guys complaining that like, oh, everyone's hitting the ball so far, we need to roll back. It's like, you understand if that happens, you as well are going to be hitting it shorter, and you only hit it 225 now.
Yeah.
So now you're
I
gonna hit it 200. Like, does that sound fun to you? Doesn't to me.
No, not to anyone.
Mhm.
I haven't heard a single person that actually agrees with rolling the ball back.
Yeah,
Like, how did that actually get approved?
no idea. Before we get too far off track, which we already are, what else from this weekend should we cover? I mean, we talked about Scottie and his dominance. We talked about we'll say the top five, and then where the live players, you know, ended up. We talked about Tiger Woods. We talked about um, who missed the cut, who is disappointing, you know, that they missed the cut. We talked about the weather on Friday, just how crazy that was. What else are we missing here?
I actually was going to ask you a question, and I had it written down here, and I didn't even tell you about it because I wanted to surprise you on this one.
Surprise, got it.
So you have tickets on Sunday. You know who's leading going into Thursday night, right? What group are you following? I mean, I'm pretty sure it's like
So I think what he's asking, he cut out again. I have tickets for Sunday to the Masters. You know groups, you know who are you going to follow? Um, I'm going to see Tiger Woods, of course. I'm out there first thing watching Tiger Woods tee off. I'm probably watching him until we'll say, you know, the top 10 to 12 people come out. What did you hear of that, Justin?
top to 10, 12 people, but
Okay.
I did mention the SS word, the guy who won the Masters, and that's when my internet decides to go slow apparently. So that's
Yep.
the fourth
Yep.
time.
So what I was saying is, you know, if I have tickets to the Masters for Sunday, you know the leaderboard. I'm just going to use this here. Like, I'm out there first thing like everybody else. Like, I'm not wasting time getting to the course. I'm watching Tiger Woods play at least 9 holes.
Valid. Could totally see that. That would
The way
100%.
I see it, like, and I wonder if this crossed Neil Shipley's mind when he's playing with them. It's like, this could very well be the last time Tiger Woods ever plays Augusta on Sunday. You know, and if I'm there on Sunday, I'm watching the guy who has 82 tour wins, 5 green jackets. Like, I'm going there. I'm watching him for at least 9 holes. I would anticipate this is just some quick thinking. By that time, some of the guys who are in the mix are teeing off. Right? You know, we'll call it the top 12 at the time. Maybe not quite there yet. I'm going back. I'm going back to watch some of that. I'm probably trying to keep tabs on Tiger as much as possible. I don't know how you do that besides looking at a leaderboard, seeing what holes are on. I'd probably want to see him play number 12.
You would have been able to
on
follow
Sunday.
Tiger for the entire round before the top 12 went off, actually.
Before the top 12?
Because the top 12 I think Scottie teed off at 11:30 Pacific time, 2:30 Eastern time, and
Yeah.
Tiger teed off at 6:30 in the morning. He was the
Was
first
it
group off.
was it that early? Then yeah, I'm watching Tiger Woods play his whole round.
Yeah. I mean,
And
I
then
watched.
I'll go catch up with, Bryson and who was he playing with? Schauffele. I'll go catch up with them on hole 3 or whatever, and then figure it out from there. But like, I'm 100% going to watch Tiger Woods play golf on Sunday at Augusta.
Yeah, I 100% would go watch Tiger Woods. I think that would be amazing. I mean, you and I might be talking about. I mean, and this is kind of cool. We might have just witnessed Tiger's last Sunday at the Masters.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
right? Like that's. I mean, you can put it down for the Great Bogey podcast right there. Like
it's
just
definitely barring like death, it's not his last Masters tournament, but it's probably gonna be harder for him next year to make the cut. I mean,
it's only gonna get harder from here, right? Yeah. Like every year you get. From there, honestly, I watched Max. I think, like they're all good ball strikers, but he's just fun to watch. And Ludwig, I would love to watch him and Max go back to back. I think they're awesome because SS, I can't say his name because my internet's listening. And then you got Colin, like they're kind of boring in a sense. Like you want to see some action. You want to see someone like Ludwig go for that par 5 in 2. I mean, he roasted a 4-iron 240 yards with water on, what is that? Is that 10 or 11? I can't remember. But roasted a 4-iron in there 240 yards. Like I want to watch that. And
yeah,
a lot of those guys aren't doing that, especially Colin. He doesn't do that. He plays just the most consistent game of golf. And then Scottie was just there not to make mistakes and make a few putts, and it's his Masters.
Yep. And to mention, I mean, Max also has like that online personality, right? He's roasting people on Instagram and Twitter and their golf swings, and he does the YouTube channels, and he doesn't just stick to that status quo of like, yeah, I'm just a tour player and that's when I play my golf. To transition, Morikawa, if he finds his irons, that's kind of what's been his strength, when he's winning, he's a 2-time major champion. Like, can't forget about that.
He won quick.
Yeah. I mean, if he were to win the Masters, I thought they said it was like top 3 quickest to 75% done, right, of the Grand Slam, so 3 majors. If he keeps this play up, he'll be in the mix, every major this year and could win another one. It's going to be a guy to watch out for in the next 3 majors at Valhalla and then Pinehurst. And I'm blanking
Pinehurst could be his jam.
Mm-hmm.
Pinehurst, how it's tree lined, etc.
I am going to be rooting for Hideki Matsuyama at Pinehurst. I don't know why. You're
calling it already? That's your pick, huh?
I like Hideki. You're going to need to be a good, like the top ball strikers, and you got to be a good putter at Pinehurst. Like, I think he's gonna be in top form. A lot of these guys are gonna be in top form. I think a lot of them are gonna win at Pinehurst. Who knows? I mean, Scottie could very well just go and win all 4 majors this year. Like, I don't think that's out of the realm of possibility with how he's playing. But if I'm going to root for somebody other than Scottie or Ludwig, like I'm rooting for Hideki at every major. I'm rooting for Ludwig or Max at every major. I was texting my buddy. I'm like, it would be super cool if Homa wins this because, like, this is the major everybody wants to win. It's the most prestigious. And for that to be your first, like it was for Scottie, I mean, come on now.
Yeah. And can you imagine, like, the after party? I mean, Homa said he hasn't drank in a long time, and he's all saving it for that.
He was saving it for Sunday. Yeah.
And I mean, who are you gonna go drink with? Are you gonna go drink with Homa, finishing tied for third, or are you going to a dive bar with Scottie Scheffler?
Well, probably home because I don't want to fly to Dallas to go to the dive bar. But
But
it was
you're going with Homa anyways.
yeah,
You want
it
to
was really funny to see Scotty in like his just the same golf outfit. He like literally got off the private jet and was like, "Take me to this dive bar."
yeah, a Texas hat,
Yeah.
same shirt he was wearing, Masters jacket. I can't imagine how much fun Max Homa would be with like 3 or 4 cocktails in him.
Mm-hmm.
Like he'd be absolutely hilarious. So
Yeah, we'll put this out in the world. Future guests of the Great Bogey Podcast, Max Homa. That's what we're gonna do. We'll have him
that
on.
that
That's
would
our
be yeah. Or you know what I was thinking? The goal of the podcast, get Colt Nost on there. Because Colt knows all these guys and
yeah.
he's partied with Max, he's partied with Wyndham. Like he knows all the guys, and that guy would be just hilarious. That'd be awesome.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that would be good. Honestly, like Max, he's got an interesting story, right? You know, he won his card like 3 times from the Corn Ferry, got relegated back down, lost his card. Then he like I think he had a close call, made it happen to where like okay, you get some exemptions, whatever. And like 7 weeks later, won his first tournament, and now here we are. Uh, yeah, I'd love for him to have a successful year this year and then career, just winning a few majors, being in the mix in the big elevated events. He's one of the guys that we walked with a little bit at the Waste Management. Super nice guy, cracking jokes all the way down the fairway. Just like, yeah, dude, just hit this 6 iron to 4 feet and you know give a dig to Gary Woodland. It was just really cool. Like, see these guys as like, oh, they're just dudes playing golf right now. Um, but yeah, that'd be huge if he won. He's one of the guys I'll be rooting for, like I said, throughout the year.
Oh, always. And honestly, it's not as much about his game, or maybe I love the sarcasm that he brings online.
Mm-hmm.
But like how real his posts were this week and even last week, like him talking about how grateful he is to be at the Masters, and like just those feelings around the mental game. Like golf is an incredibly tough game, right? Like you're playing at the highest level. Wyndham Clark and Max Homa are talking about like just trying to go through the mental side of it, and seeing some of those things where he's just like talking about grateful, like being positive, like all those things. I was like, damn, that's pretty cool to read.
Mm-hmm.
So I
Yeah.
like I root for the guy for that as well. Like that's a cool aspect that you see from that.
Yep. Yep. I agree. Fully agree. Um, One thing that's always stuck out of my head about Xander Schauffele is like, I think it was probably 2 years ago now. Somebody was talking about this guy's built for majors, blah blah blah. Built,
It,
he hasn't won. When's that gonna happen?
he hasn't. And I remember hearing that 2 years ago. I mean, I think all the announcers talked about it all the
Mm-hmm.
time, but it's because he had so many of those top tens in a row. Like he went to
Yeah.
every major and he was top 10, top 10, top 10. I mean, even this week he's top 8, but he couldn't make anything happen on Sunday. I mean, he shot a 73 on Sunday, which granted isn't horrible. Colin Morikawa shot a 74, but
Yeah.
he couldn't make some of the putts he needed to make happen, which I don't know, man. That's pressure that I can't even imagine playing through. So good for him to have it and not me.
Yep. Yep. I can get behind that as well. So, all right. Well, Masters is over. Justin and I were talking about how big our golf hangovers are right now because of this weekend. I played Friday at Common Ground in Aurora, Colorado. Great course. Luckily, the native grass was all shaved down, so I could find some balls that missed the fairway. But Justin had a qualifier he played in, and I was hoping to get just a quick summarization and just how you played and your experience, at that tournament on Sunday.
Yeah, so it was the Oregon Mid-Am qualifier. We did it at the Oregon Golf Association. They actually own a course in Woodburn, Oregon. I think I mentioned this last week. I never played the course before. My daughters played there twice because that's where they
Yeah.
had their PGA Junior League regionals. So I mentioned it to her like, I don't know, 2 weeks ago, and I said, hey, if I get off the wait list on Sunday, you want to be my caddy? And she was like, hell yeah. So her and we went up there, grabbed a little In and Out at Kaiser Station because there's only one In and Out in Oregon. Then went and played a practice round, which was super fun. I thought the course was cool. It was only like 6,500 yards, so it was a shorter course from the tips. Unfortunately, they had punched the greens like 3 weeks ago, and they were still healing, so things weren't rolling as good as they typically do there, from what I've heard. Usually, they get those greens pretty pure. And Sunday we went out there, and man, it was so much fun to compete. I love playing in tournament golf. Like there's a different atmosphere. I've been trying to talk myself out of like talking about how nervous I get, because that's one of the things that like I deal with, where all of a sudden you get those butterflies, and like presentations for work and things like that. For whatever reason, I can be like, oh, if I'm nervous, that means I'm gonna perform better. But when it comes to like golf, the nerves like just eat me alive. Even if it's like a $10 bet with the guys, like I get down to the final couple holes and it ends that way. So felt that instead of saying nerves, I kept saying excitement. Like my daughter and I were talking about it, and I'm like, I'm really excited right now. And we were trying to add like a different positive feel to it. First tee shot, I was like, oh, perfect. And we went, I think we made 4 pars in a row, made a birdie, made a bogey, couldn't get up and down. I made the turn with a birdie on 9 at a 35. So I was 1 under. I was like, huh, we're playing some golf.
Yeah.
Like this is pretty cool. All right. Making some putts with my new putter that, showed up on Wednesday and decided to game it. Went to the back 9, birdied 10. And then I was like, holy crap, I'm actually 2 under right now. This is a pretty cool round. Played 13 or 12 and 13 pretty well. And we got to 14, which is just this weird ass like par 5. I hate par 5s when you just can't like pound driver somewhere and go find it. And the wind started kicking up pretty hard. So we were dealing with like 25-mile-an-hour gusts of wind, and it was just completely downwind on this hole. And so I hit 4-iron off the tee, good shot, needed 150 yards, 160-yard shot to get to like 100, 110, got there. I'm like,
why did you hit 4-iron?
It's
Is
so
there
narrow.
like a dog leg or something thrown in there, or water?
So there's water and marsh area all along the left-hand side, houses on the right-hand side. And when I was looking at the Decade Golf stuff, the widest part of the fairway was only 40 yards. So I was like, I'm not going for it, because the green is surrounded by that marsh area, and there's a bunch of high trees, and it's a dog leg left.
So you just said this is a 3-shot hole.
This is a 3-shot hole.
Play safe off the tee.
Yeah. And I was hitting my wedges really good all day. Like that's what actually kept me in it, was that 100 to 130 yards. I was throwing wedges up, and I was, 15 feet from the pin, 20 feet from the pin. And I was like, oh, perfect. Let's go for a birdie putt and tap in pars. And the wind was pushing it, and I hit this 110-yard wedge, which should have only gone 110, and it went 130 and sailed to the back of the green. And
oh, we lost him. I'm going to go out on a limb and say he doubled that hole. It's a big story, so I assume it was not good. I say big, I mean long, but he'll come back. He'll come back. Maybe not. Maybe he won't. There he is.
Yeah.
All right, so your wedge sailed to the back of the green.
Sailed to the back of the green. It's a 2-tiered green, from front to back downhill, and I just got way too cute with the first putt. Didn't make it off the top tier. I 4-putted.
There you go. 4-putt, double bogey on the par 5.
Yeah.
Hell
Now,
yeah.
one of the coolest things that happened is got back, handed my putter to my daughter. She handed me a candy bar, and she said, "Let's go make par on the next hole." I
Yeah.
was like, "All right, cool, we got this." Went and
So
made par, but yeah.
So if she doesn't make it as a pro golfer, she's definitely going to be a good caddy for a pro golfer. It sounds like with that mindset and just that hey man, here's a snack.
Yeah.
That hole's in the past. We'll figure it out.
Yeah, and even I was actually really surprised by like her maturity of it,
Sure.
because we got to the next hole and I had a putt for par, grabbed my putter, and she was like, "Hey, take your time." It's like, where are you coming from? This is
Yeah.
awesome. All right, cool. So I mean I doubled one of the holes coming up. It was tricky. I hit a driver. It was right along the tree line. Thought it was going to be totally fine. We're searching for it. Can't find anything. Got super frustrated because I'm like, okay, it's got to be under leaves somewhere, and we just can't find it at this point.
Yeah.
And I go back to hit a tee shot. Didn't hit a provisional because I thought it was gonna be fine. And all of a sudden, I get the arms in the air. Hey, it's okay. And apparently, my daughter was walking under a tree, like looks up, and the ball just drops down right between her feet.
Really?
And I was like, "Where was the ball?" And she's like, "It was right up there." Like it was just hanging out in the tree, and it just dropped down from the wind. So, but yeah, I mean, at that point,
What were you playing as? Like twosomes, threesomes, foursomes?
threesomes.
Threesomes.
So, but at that point, I made that triple, and honestly, that was I haven't been that far into a round, especially a tournament round, 2 under.
Yeah.
Like I've been even and been like, okay, where are the wheels going to come off? And I think I got to that point on 14. And
Well, there's your problem. You're in
Yeah.
your head at
Totally.
wondering when the wheels are going to come off.
And then we finished the round. I finished at 75. So I thought I mentioned this on the earlier podcast. It was like I need to shoot 76 because I think that's what makes it through. Got up and down on 18 with the wind just howling at us. Shot a 75, and I'm like, I think I made it. And then I come in, and the guys earlier in the day, like the guy who actually won the qualifier went 5 under.
Sheesh.
So they were playing some golf, man. And
yeah.
That was
well. You said earlier in the day that is when they send off the pluses and the script like so.
Best players have the first tee times. So
Yep.
And they had 0 wind. Like when I showed up at noon, it was beautiful, 0 wind. We didn't get wind until like we got to like 8, 9, and then all of a sudden it kicked up 10, 11, 12. It got really bad. So
did you meet your goal of, I believe you said 12 greens and then only 2 3 putts?
Yeah, so I only had 2 3 putts. I mean, technically, if we count one as a 4 putt, so that sucked.
Yeah.
But I missed my goal of 12 greens in regulation. I got 11.
11. Okay.
So
that's still not bad. I mean,
yeah. I was
you set achievable goals for the round and you came up just short on one of them, right?
There's so many lessons from it, and I think like as the round went through, it was like, okay, like now I'm not playing as aggressive, and I'm not going in there with the mindset of like, let's play golf. It was like, oh my gosh, how do I preserve that? So
yeah,
by the time I got done with it, like on 17 and 18, I finally like head came to that where it was like, dude, just swing the golf club and like go after a putt. You don't have to like tap things in there. And so I'm really like my big golf hangover today is from like I want to be in that spot again. Because when
I'm sure there's plenty of options, plenty of opportunities to make that happen. So
hopefully, yeah, I mean, my daughter and I had such a good time, and she kind of looked at me at the end and she's like, yeah, so now you get to caddy for me in my tournament next. And she was like, we'll make it next year. So We got an annual trip planned from now on. So
nice.
we'll see how I do in the 2025 Mid-Am qualifier.
Well, we'll check back in on it, in a year from now. So
that'll be awesome. Hopefully we'll have better results, and then I'll be able to give a little report of what the Mid-Am, what that stress is like when you actually make it through.
Sure. Yeah. What would be the next step if you were to make that we'll call it the cut, right, to the next tournament?
Yeah, if I shot and this was the hard part too. I shot a 75. If I would have shot in a 73, I would have made the cut.
Okay.
So, but that would have gotten me to the Oregon Mid-Am at Pumpkin Ridge, the private side, where they hosted the U.S. Open when Tiger won there, or
Gotcha.
USAM when Tiger won there. And so I haven't played that side of the course. I walked parts of the holes.
So you would have made the final tournament if you would have shot 73. Gotcha.
Yeah.
It's not like a 3 qualifier thing.
No.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
Probably because it's strictly just, Oregon. Makes sense.
Yeah. So
gotcha. Well, that would have been cool. I mean, like you said, there's always next year, and there's gonna be plenty of qualifying opportunities plus tournaments that you can get in this summer and whatnot. So
yeah, I'm headed over to a course that I've played, and now I've played quite a few times, but it's called Tokati, and we're playing a 2-man best ball on Saturday and Sunday. So there's some players coming over there. I looked at the tee sheets today and I was like, holy crap, there's some good golfers. So it'll be fun to play with my buddy Joey. We've played a bunch of team golf together. We've won some pretty cool tournaments with some fun prizes. So it'll be fun to go over there and see what we can do.
very nice. Very nice. Cool. Very cool. Well, I think that's probably all we've got, right? For this episode, we talked about the greatest tournament this year. I have high hopes for the rest of the majors. I'm really looking forward to Pinehurst. We're going to be coming at you. I will be at least coming at the listeners with the RBC Heritage preview at some point in the next few days. So
I love that red jacket.
I'm not a fan, but I'm sure it's cool to have part of your. I like the idea of having like a non-traditional like trophy, like the boots at the Valero, the jacket at RBC. I don't mind that, but it's not like a great looking jacket if you ask me.
Yeah, last year was it last year when Jordan Spieth got into a playoff
with Fitzpatrick?
Yeah. I actually put money on Spieth to win that, so I was pretty stoked about it. I love that.
Yeah.
I look forward to it.
Yep, at Harbor Town with the big old lighthouse. Myrtle Beach, arguably one of the best places to go play golf. So I've heard. I've never been there, but make sure, listeners, you're going to the Great Bogey Podcast on YouTube and Spotify. I'm going to be working on getting on Apple Podcasts as well. But for now, those are our 2 major platforms. And we'll be chatting with you guys soon.